welcome to the Friends of Zeus podcast. This is episode 150 something. We'll call it 159. Tonight we got a new friend to the show, Josh Perry. He is well. Josh, why don't you give us a little bit of your background, where you're from, what you do?
All right, so
Spot-
I'm out in Michigan. I work a day job slaving away at, making parts for cars. And then on my free time, I run my podcast. It could be worse. The best show on YouTube and Rumble. Maybe
It could be
besides
worse.
this one.
Second
This
best.
is a pretty good one.
Second best.
Second best. I'll
Okay.
take second best.
Tie.
Maybe
Good
even
tie.
best worst show, I got a herd of kids that go and stampede around, and thank God that they're quiet right now. So I wanted to go and talk to you guys about the State of the Union that, Joe Biden went and did his little address on Thursday, and it was more or less, just listen to a geriatric dude kind of give a campaign speech. So I wanted to kind of go and give my take on it. And please, if you guys feel anything about it, well, just chime on in because this could go on for a minute.
I just have some pre comments.
Get it, Des.
Listen, did anyone think that Joe Biden looked a little waxy?
Oh yeah, he definitely got some Botox done.
You mean
Yeah,
over
like
the
a little
last
waxy.
4
When I
years?
say waxy, I mean like looking dead. Like he
Yeah,
he's
he
very
always
old.
does.
He's just
Well,
he looks extra waxy.
He's a walking
Yeah, he did
corpse.
look
I mean,
extra.
That's interesting because they always show these pictures of the candidates when they start and when they end, and he really
He
from what is
waxed
he
up.
like 89 or whatever age he was before, it really hit him
101.
fucking.
Do you guys think Jim Carrey's wearing a Biden mask? Have y'all seen that little theory going around?
No.
No.
Oh,
I like it,
man,
though.
This guy went and made like a 5-minute clip just like showing how Jim Carrey falls and then like showing Biden falling up the stairs and the little gestures they do and how they're similar. It's crazy.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
I also would like to say that I love Mike Johnson's face. Just
Oh, behind there? Yeah. Just
The whole
shaking his
time?
head.
Man, you know what? I'll go and use that
Yeah.
for the jumping off point. So, overseas, we got these conflicts of Ukraine, Israel. Haiti just went and joined the club with that barbecue dude.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys see Mike Johnson when the funding for Israel came up during the speech?
Oh, wait, for Israel and Ukraine or just Israel?
Yeah, Israel and Ukraine. He went,
Yeah.
that was the only time during the speech he jumped
got
up
up.
and started like a seal, just art,
Yeah.
art, keep it coming.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, you got the BRICS alliance of Brazil, Russia, India, China, Saudi Arabia, and they're trying to go and destabilize the dollar, and they're winning. You got the World Economic Forum going and trying to do their great reset agenda with the carbon tax, 15-minute cities, ESG scores, the cultural programming. The World Health Organization's attempting to go and be the ultimate authority for all nations in the event of the next global illness. I mean, have you guys seen all that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, 15-minute cities we've talked about. I feel like that's Hunger Games brought to life.
I don't know what a 15-minute city is. Is that like the smart cities y'all been talking about?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that the same?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
So it's pretty
and-
much like, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and then the guy with the WHO, I know we touched on it in a recent episode where he basically lined up how they're going to in the case, like you said, of disease X, they've got all of these policies and parameters set in place that they're going to issue. And the funny thing is, they kind of just did that with COVID, and we're all a little wiser for it. And so I don't understand who's going to listen to them this time. And unfortunately, our government will.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same thing over again. God knows what it's going to be.
I know I harp on it all the time, but it's choreography versus conspiracy. They know they're planning the dance before the music started. You know what I mean?
Good way of putting it.
It's frightening.
Well, to your point, Jack, the thing is with even things like ESG and the DEI, I mean, it's who would go along with it. But at the same time, when you look at, corporate America, we hit every single box that they want. Yeah. I mean, it kind of is what it is.
Yeah, no, it is. And although, I mean, I know you probably covered this when, when Target and Budweiser, when there was that mass boycott, that was when I started to feel a little more optimistic, I guess, with the fact that people were at least making a stand. Now, I don't know if they still are, but they
No.
gave those companies a big hit. The same thing's been going on with Disney. Like people are actually pushing back. I mean, they're saying F you, we don't like this stuff. Screw your ESG score. Like we don't want to buy your product.
If
I
I,
think people just need to be more informed of like who the corporations are and what they own and what they're selling. You know what I mean? Like I saw something on X. You guys ever hear of that soap lotion product, Aveeno?
Yeah.
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 I've
it's
heard
like
of it.
Okay.
The oatmeal
Well,
bath.
somebody on X forward, they reposted like a commercial that Aveeno put out, and it was like a product for kids, like it's like bath time with kids.
oh yeah, yeah. And
and
the kid comes out
and
of the dress.
and then the kid at the end, it's a boy. And
Yeah.
at the end of the video, for all of like 7 seconds, he's wearing a girl's tutu, like a ballerina outfit colored like a rainbow, dancing around. And then it just cuts to the bottle of vino, da 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 da. You know what I mean? Like it's just okay, so
Subtle.
let's boycott that shit now if you
Yeah.
think that's inappropriate. You know
You
what
know,
I mean? Like I don't know. People seem to be waking up, it seems like. I mean, otherwise these companies wouldn't be taking the hit that
Well-
we've seen them take.
to your point, and I may be robbing you, Josh, from one of your shows. I may have heard
Go
it,
ahead.
but the thing that's interesting is that Target, huge corporation, they're definitely in that conglomerate of corporations that didn't suffer as much. Like you could walk around there nonstop during COVID, but if you go into a small business,
Yeah,
you're
right.
gonna get fucking COVID. The hypocrisy of it is just ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, and shoot, my understanding, most of you guys are in the medical field, right?
Just
two.
news.
Two. I
Too?
was about to point, but then I'm like, you can't see my
Yeah,
screen.
you can't really.
Yeah, so like Desiree and Zeus.
Now, were you two making your videos too during that time frame? Getting your
Absolutely.
dances in?
We started February of 21, I think.
I
Yeah,
did
we-
no
we-
dances on
we-
the ticker talker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We started at the
should've.
beginning of COVID and got through
Mm.
it.
Yeah, we were
Just
like a year late. We started February 21.
Right.
So yeah, we were in full psychosis when we started. Yeah.
Yes.
We were freaking out. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, kind of, swerving off, from the good old Joey B's little statements the other
Oh,
day.
Jadden.
Hey, good old Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the shift in attitude from the Kung Flu to now? From when it was, hey, if you don't leave your home and people losing their mind, compared to now where it's more normal.
Mm-hmm.
You guys go and then I'll go.
Yeah, I mean, COVID. We've done a few episodes about it, or the Wuhan flu or whatever. The thing that,
SARS-CoV-2.
my takeaway from it, looking back, like my big takeaway was, it's amazing how everyone will work together in lockstep for a very short amount of time. Like people, if they think it's for the greater good or it's to help them, everyone like within a week was like, okay, man. I mean, not everyone, but a vast majority. But it only takes a short amount of time, like within 10 days. I mean, I know I was like, what the hell's going on? You know what I mean? Like you can get people to cooperate with almost anything for a
Fear is
very
a
short
fucking
amount of time.
phenomenal motivator.
And then after that, everything was just bananas, man. I mean, I can't believe. I remember at the time, I'm like, this could go, like we could still be dealing with this by summertime. I mean, it was like March. I was like, it could be like 4th of July and we're still dealing with this. And it's like they just rescinded the 5-day quarantine thing, like 2 weeks ago. People are still,
Yeah.
dude, I live outside DC. There's still people wearing masks in their car by themselves here.
Yeah, same
Not
here.
a lot, not a lot, but I see it. I see
Yeah, I
it
see it
regularly.
too.
Yeah, I got a friend that just got COVID. She's a nurse as well. And she did like 10 days. And I think, but I know her, she was like milking like the last 7.
But the
Yeah.
other thing too is the legacy of it,
COVID.
of COVID is, Josh, you okay? Should we be wearing masks?
Your
We were wearing
mask.
masks on one of our
You
episodes.
might need to. Here,
Yeah.
guys. Just
Um,
I got you.
Okay,
but there
good.
were,
Now I'm safe.
but there were people who absolutely had a rough time with it. And I know Desiree and Zeus have talked about it from a medical standpoint, but it's like, I don't know if this has happened to you, Josh, where I'm like, man, I don't know about COVID. And people are like, my dad died from, I'm like, oh man, like, I mean, it's like, there's anecdotal, I mean, there's people that did deal with it. It's not like it didn't exist, but it definitely was not what it was sold as. And I think they knew that quickly, but then they were able to leverage it to get some other things done. It was very convenient timing.
And
for
you got to
sure.
think that some of those people, this part is gonna, I hope it doesn't take us up, but you got to think some of those people are full of shit. They just wanted to be part of the conversation.
I'm talking about people that
Oh
died.
yeah, I lost an uncle from COVID. No, you didn't.
I got you because we were saying like everyone who died had COVID. That's like that's pretty much what it was. But there were people that were on machines and stuff like that
Yeah,
or
no,
whatever.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, but Mike, what they lied to us about, and I think they knew, was this disease specifically dangerously affected a certain
Oh
percentage
yeah.
of the population, and they sold it as all of you could die from COVID. Your kids could die from COVID. You better get them the jab too.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw news footage where they showed like infants getting the vaccine, like just completely unnecessary shit. And the CDC kept the cards close to the vest. Like they
Hmm.
had the numbers, they altered the numbers. In one case, when it came to like men between the ages of, I forget if it was 15 to 30, they basically removed that from their average because those people, they were healthy young people that really didn't need the vaccine.
I mean,
So there was definitely lying made to make
oh yeah.
everybody comply. And
And
then Josh, to answer your question as far as then versus now, I'm just kind of waiting for them to try it again. That's kind of what we talked about with the WHO. Like
Yeah,
I'm
it's not a
wondering
tip,
what's,
it's a win.
because the election's coming up real quick and there's got to be some calamity, catastrophe to justify whatever they plan to do this time. I mean, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm
And
one of
and also COVID episodes are the 2 episodes that we got pulled off YouTube permanently because we talked about COVID in ways that were not allowed to be discussed
At the
at the
time.
time. And this was 2021,
Yeah.
maybe even 2022, the beginning of it.
2 months ago, I had a guest on, and he brought up Bill Gates' activities in the 90s. And I'm not going to go and talk about what he was doing, but it was nothing related to the Kung Flu. My video instantly got pulled, and I had to do a YouTube re-education test before my video could go back up.
What is a YouTube
Wow.
re-education test?
Yeah, they didn't
Yeah.
offer that to me.
You have
I
to
didn't
take a
get that.
test.
Was it
It'll
over
say,
COVID?
yeah, it
Oh.
wasn't, it was nothing to do with COVID though. It
Oh.
was about Bill Gates in the 90s with some testing that he was doing in another country.
Gotcha.
That
That's
I don't want to
interesting.
go into it because I don't want you guys to go and get a
Yeah,
strike on your
no.
channel.
Well, yeah, but I mean, think about Bill Gates, though. What we can say, which is not conspiracy, and I'm not doubting your source. Maybe, I mean, I'm saying maybe it was just something they don't want discussed. But if you guys remember, CNN hosted the first, I think it was the first Trump Biden debate in in 2020, right? I think of, yeah, 2020. And Anderson Cooper was hosting, and it was almost like like when you watch UFC, there's the big fight, right? But then there's all the other fights that lead up to it, the preliminary.
Yep.
And CNN was just trying to like get ratings. and Anderson Cooper was interviewing guests, and one of the guests that night was Bill Gates. And it was so random to me. And he was promoting vaccines. Like
Mm.
that happened.
Yes. I
Wow.
mean, he has a giant stake in the companies, you
Yeah,
know?
but it just felt so weird to me. I'm tuning in to watch the presidential debate, and you'd think there'd be a panel talking about issues that are going to come up, and it was all about COVID and Bill Gates selling vaccines. And I still, it was very surreal to me. Like I was like, what am I watching? This is the computer guy, right? The billionaire. Like, what is he doing? Like, this is strange. And then you fast forward, we're all basically mandated to get the jab, depending on what job you have.
Now
Yeah, it
he's
wasn't.
Farmer Gates.
Interestingly, though, Jack, in
He's
Desiree,
little St. James Gates.
Yeah, 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 yes.
I think Des will back me up on this. They're not trying to force us to get any more jabs at this point.
No, I'm talking about back then in 20.
No. But what I'm saying,
Yeah.
I find it interesting that they're not going after the people that know that it's a crock. I'll stop there. That are trained in the industry in which they're trying to manipulate us.
I had a very different experience than Zeus did.
Let's hear it, Des.
I work in an ICU, I work in a cardiothoracic intensive care unit, and I take care of the sickest patients. We had the sickest patients. We were running them on ECMO. I mean, these were the sickest COVID patients in the land, like not just in my state, but just that type of patient population. It killed a lot of people. Now, I'm not saying that there were not a lot of people that died with COVID for other reasons. I also think there are people that died
because of COVID
of reasons that were exacerbated by COVID. And then I also think that there were people that died of COVID. So there's 3 groups of people. Okay. Now, I think where they messed up in the very beginning was when they started telling everybody that this is not like the flu. And they didn't really educate the people because we've never been through a pandemic. We don't know how that shit goes. But this is how pandemics go. It's extremely virulent virus that blows through a population and then it's gone. Like it's like very rarely there. And that's pretty normal for the way pandemics work. But they kind of they made it seem like this is like the worst of the worst thing, which if you got it and you were compromised anyway, it was. And we did see people that weren't compromised that died. It's, it's just it varied. But I mean, I don't think that they had to scare everyone the way that they did.
No,
I also
they didn't.
think that
they didn't have to. They chose to.
The burden on the healthcare system was that. I mean, it was a lot.
At first. I mean, the first few
for a
months.
while, like until almost December of 2020, maybe.
Well, I think when
2021. So I mean, in that
when
sense,
this
like,
I'm sorry, sweetheart.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just talking over here. It's fine. But do I think the attitude is different? Yeah, because it was like the day it was over, it was over.
Yeah,
and it's like everyone just forgot about it.
Yeah, but it was over long before they said it was. Like I remember
I understand that. But what I'm saying is, when they said it was over, then it was over and done. And no one, it was like not even a thing anymore. Cool.
Right. It's not.
You don't have to stay home or like do anything. Come to work if you got COVID. We don't care. It's fine.
Right.
So the attitudes changed a lot. I mean, but I also think attitude during, like, even with the vaccine, like in the very beginning, everyone was begging for a cure, begging for a vaccine. And then when it came, nobody wanted it because whatever reason that was out there. So it's like, I just think it kind of gave everyone something to talk about because we had nothing better to do. But
yeah, but
whatever.
but it also spawned so much. Like I talked about, we got censored 2 episodes. Josh, you did as well for something, Bill Gates related, which is
that was 2 months ago.
That was just 2 months ago. See,
yep,
that's
2
crazy
weeks,
to me because
my warning's gone.
See, I remember my eyes opening up to the fact that during COVID, the years 2020, 2021, there would be videos go up and then get pulled down. There would be journalism. Like I remember Tucker Carlson had doctors like from China that were talking about this is clearly a lab leak, and he was just vilified for it, and they were denounced as, quacks. And if you put a video on YouTube that suggested that this came from the Chinese government, your shit got knocked off.
I also
And
don't
that
understand why
happened.
that was so why that was so crazy.
And that happened in this country. Like that just shows you
That
what,
happens all
and
the
then
time.
and then Josh, we were talking before
Mhm.
he started recording about the disinformation board. Like it was very frightening for a while. And I think it opened
Still
our
is.
eyes to what, let's call it the party, whoever they are, they're capable of quite a bit. Like their fingers are
Yeah.
in all the pies,
Well,
and
shoot.
yeah.
If you guys want to move on to the party and the next little big piece of the pie here.
Well,
Well, I
well,
want to touch on something, an interaction that Mike had with me at the very beginning, like right when the show started. And he was like, why he chose me as his medical reference, but he was like, what do you think about this? And it holds true today. It's either very communicable or it's deadly as fuck. But it is not both. And I'll bet you remember this conversation.
yeah, I do. Yeah.
And I was like, it's simply not both. If everybody starts dying, yeah, okay.
But hold on, Zeus,
Great.
it is both, because that's how novel viruses work. Every other novel virus has done the same thing, that
But yeah,
just
but
no
what
one
I'm-
talked about
what-
it. No one
what I'm
talked about
saying-
it.
What I'm saying is that if it was as communicable as they were stating it was, the results do not prove that it was as deadly as they said it was.
It was
It
very
can't be both.
specific.
We would have lost. I mean, the bubonic plague took out like half the earth. I mean, I'm exaggerating,
But
but
the bubonic plague is still around, not killing that many people.
no. But my point is that
influenza A, influenza B, like those
Kills a
things
lot of
ravaged
people.
a virus, killed a lot of
Right, but-
people that no one talked about because it wasn't a thing. Like what social media wasn't around.
But my
It didn't.
point
It didn't
is
have any marketing.
Yeah, this
yeah,
is
exactly.
I think that people
Amen. My point is that it couldn't be as they stated it was. If it was, then we would be like walking down the street, seeing people in their death throes. It simply was not that. It was very communicable, but it was not nearly as deadly as they said it was. That's why they have to use terms like dying with COVID and not dying of COVID.
Well, again, it's people with comorbidities. It was people that had all sorts of health issues, diabetes,
those.
weight
I'm
problems.
diabetic.
but it's
I'm
not every
diabetic.
person, because it has more.
But Desiree, I'm just saying it wasn't going to kill everybody like they said that it
No,
could.
Exactly.
no, but it
We
could.
didn't all-
You just don't know. I mean,
I know, but when they're
the
mandating
flu could kill you.
yeah, but
and the end result is the same.
I don't want to.
But I
I
didn't
don't
say
want to
that out
stay on
loud.
COVID, but they were mandating vaccines to companies, private companies with over 50 employees. Do you remember him trying to do
Yep.
that?
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. Anyway,
Yeah, I had to take one.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, I got the 2 jabs. I'm not gonna do them again unless they got a gun to my head, though. Fuck that.
Yeah.
That's next, brother.
Yeah, that's next.
Right.
Shoot.
Josh, what did you were starting up something not COVID related. So what?
Man. All right. So let's go and shrink it down, from globally to, domestically. The good old alphabet agencies that we got. Did you guys hear what happened a couple months ago to that guy out in Oklahoma? It was like 86, and he posted some on Facebook. FBI came to his house, and he's no longer with us.
Was he the Boeing guy, the whistleblower?
Oh, I just heard about
No.
No, he was he was being obnoxious on Facebook, saying like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna, take shots at the sitting president right now." And then the FBI showed up to his door, kicked it in, and shot him.
They policed
Them
him. Yeah.
Oklahomians is crazy. They be
But-
doing
Yeah,
that
they-
stuff.
But he was an 86-year-old dude with a
Yeah.
cane. Like he was
Yeah.
not, valid in any of this.
There was
Could have been a gun
probably-
in that cane. I'm just saying, them Oklahomans are crazy.
Yeah, I do remember that, Josh. And there was
Just-
definitely ways they could have probably handled that without it being a lethal encounter. Would be
I mean,
my.
they could have just banned him from Facebook. Let's be
Yeah.
real.
But they showed up with all the whole that whole thing, didn't they?
Yeah, that like they were full on raid, and then there was another one a couple months ago. I actually just seen a whole bunch of steam on Twitter. where the FBI stacks on this guy's house in Texas, goes in, and the guy's wife was actually pregnant at the time, and she miscarried the next day because the stress of
Yeah.
having the FBI come full in and raid their home. But I mean, what's your guys' thoughts on the interference of these three-letter agencies, even the IRS going and holding the NFL hostage? James O'Keefe went and reported on that. You got the NSA with a office in every single AT&T building. And AT&T runs every cell phone tower. So every other company
That's
just
why I got good
leases them.
coverage.
Oh yeah. It's what do you guys think of
I mean,
how much the party loves you? That so
yeah.
much that they want to spy on you all the time.
I mean, we've got ourselves in a real pickle, man. I mean, we're supposed to be self-governing, right? We're supposed to be representative republic, and we've allowed the federal government to get so large that there's such a bureaucratic state now of unelected people that have careers, and like human nature will do, they're protected. Once people, you give them a little bit of power, now all of a sudden oh, this is my budget, this is, I better spend this money. Oh, all of a sudden the IRS needs guns. All of a sudden, Obama's buying billions of rounds of ammunition for what? I don't even know. I mean, not for the military, but I mean, I'm saying we have allowed this to develop. It is Frankenstein. This is Frankenstein's monster that we're dealing with right now. And the only way, and I've thought a lot about this a lot, the only way to deal with it is to like forcefully dismantle it. And when I say forcefully, I mean like quickly.
True words.
Well, quickly. It can't just be like, well, we're gonna cut 1%. It needs to be like everyone above middle management's fired. Like it's gotta
Sometimes
be
the house is so infested with termites, you got to burn it down. I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
What
I
did
mean,
they
I don't.
say? Drain the swamp? Was that a familiar term?
That's it is in
accepted
the
vernacular?
ballpark. It's in the ballpark because
It's not
Yeah.
possible though. I mean,
I
they're
know.
openly saying that they killed JFK.
Yeah.
And look, I mean, here we
I
are with
know.
the same situation.
Yeah, and they hid the UFOs for decades, and they're coming out with that too, and it doesn't make a difference. I
Man, do
mean,
you guys really think they're real though?
I don't know
I don't
what to
know.
think.
Let's be real. David Gresh is the best whistleblower to make somebody believe
yeah.
that aliens are bullshit.
Yeah, no, he's horrible. I mean,
He has
he's
seen,
horrible.
he has heard about every single UFO ever and hasn't
Yeah.
seen a single one.
Well, my favorite was the little Mexican alien
Oh,
skeletons.
yeah, the little mummies.
The mummies.
Did you know that wasn't that guy's first time bringing UFOs forward?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, that was I think the second or third time he brought UFOs to their Congress, and when they were going through them, they found out that like there was baby bones inside of those little UFOs.
Yeah.
Like it's so
I mean,
fucked, man.
It's one of
Wow.
those. Look, I just don't trust really anyone from the government. So they could be taking something that's true, and if they say it, that
Manipulate it.
then I get more suspicious about. Like I believed more in UFOs before they started coming out and saying that they were true than I do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how
My
cynical
whole thought
I
about
am.
that was why is this a congressional hearing? Like, what are they trying to hide by distracting us about UFOs? Like,
Or
why-
or
man,
is
man.
the
Well, it did seem like whenever the UFO hearings came up, there was some like issue with Biden or the administration that suddenly wasn't making as big of a splash, or at least that was the attempt.
Wasn't
But
that happening during Maxwell's hearing, or was that after?
that
don't
would be a
know.
good distraction.
it
Yeah.
might have been. It
I
might
think
have
it
been.
was.
Yeah, that's another thing I don't yeah, the whole you talking about Ghislaine Maxwell?
Yeah.
Yeah, the madam.
The madam.
She's
Yeah,
writing her tell-all in prison right now.
no,
Wow.
it's amazing that
Never
we still
lived to see it finish.
no, we still don't have any names for sure. We don't have the videos. We have nothing. They didn't recover anything.
Well, I mean, we'll just say we got Bill Clinton for sure. We got Prince Andrew for sure. I mean, those are
Yeah.
two
yeah,
pretty
but does those
reputable
surprise
names.
you?
I know, but they supposedly they found tons of videotapes and journals and book. I
Oh.
mean, we haven't been privy to any of it.
Well, he had a dungeon in that basement on Little St. James, and the FBI filled it in with concrete. You know what I'm saying? Like they covered
Yeah.
all avenues of it.
Wow.
You
Yeah,
know,
we're
like
never gonna know.
when
No,
they
we won't.
talk about like the pyramids and how they're like far older than we ever thought they were, I wonder if that was just an older civilization filling in the basement with cement, hiding the darkness that
Hiding
was
something that was there. Yeah.
going.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, there are. Look, here's the thing. One thing that's very clear, right? And if anyone had any suspicions before, you can get rid of them as suspicions. But there is no equal justice, right, in our country right now.
That's fucking horrible.
It depends what your name is, depends what your job is, depends who you know. I mean, and it's always been kind of like that, but it's like the scab has really been yanked off now. I mean, you'd have to be like living in a hole not to see
Well,
what's
like
going
yeah,
on.
Yeah,
look
it's
at
in the open.
RFK.
Yeah,
RFK is a legitimate. He's not going to win, but RFK is a legitimate, candidate. He's going to get the independent. We'll be able to vote for him, I think. But the Biden won't give him Secret Service protection.
I know,
That's
and no one seems to
I
have a
didn't
problem
think
with
that
that.
was his choice.
Mhm. It's the
who's
administration's choice.
Biden's.
It's
yeah. That's bullshit.
the Secret Service is under the executive branch, so yeah, it would be the executive branch's decision.
I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. It seems again very calculated, and maybe it was a attempt at getting him to bow out completely. I think he's got people worried that at bare minimum that his votes, if and when he does back out, perhaps that it'll be another Ross Perot situation where they go to whomever. And I think that's what they're worried about is he doesn't ally himself with either side at this point. He's done with all the garbage. But that's one thing. I also heard today, and I think this is bullshit. I think this is going to come out in the wash that he's talking about Aaron Rodgers and Jesse Ventura as his VP, his running mates. I'm thinking that one's going to come out as bullshit, but still, he's getting.
Maybe.
Jesse the body.
Yeah, man.
He's the one that talked about thermite paint on 9/11 that they painted the walls with this super like it would when flames hit it would just blow up, it would just melt girders and all that. Yeah, I'm not on board with Ventura at all. He's a wackadoo. Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if I want a quarterback as my VP either. So I'm hoping that that's all nonsense that's going to get washed away because I'll lose a ton of respect
Well,
for RFK.
Yeah, I don't see a path where RFK becomes the president.
No.
Just say it.
No.
No,
But-
the question, Mike, is there a path by which Donald Trump becomes the president again? Because
Yeah.
that's what because they're like you talked about the three-letter agencies. I mean, and Mike, you talked about selective prosecution or selective administration or of the law. And it just seems like there's no way, especially given the polls. I just keep thinking there's no way they're going to let him run.
Who?
Like this Trump.
Trump?
Yeah,
They
the stakes
tried
are that
stopping
high.
him. They
Yeah.
tried stopping him. And honestly, outside of having him meet an untimely demise, they can't stop him going right now.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, he's crushing it in the polls.
no,
Yeah.
I know. That's my point. They're so dead set against him having a chance. I'm wondering what they're going to do to make sure he doesn't. And
Yeah.
I don't put anything past them.
I don't put anything past them at all. Seriously.
No.
But like we mentioned this in another episode, Josh. I think for Trump to win and not have complete pandemonium next fall, what needs to happen is the polls, whatever the momentum has just got to get so much that they can't deny it and they can't cheat their way out of it. It's got to be like 20 points, 10 points. And if you asked me a month ago, I'd be like, yeah, that's never going to happen. But I don't know, man. I mean, just all the stuff that is coming out now. I mean, I'm having conversations with people I've never had conversations with about stuff. And they're like, and they know that I follow things. And they're like, did you hear about this? And I'm like, oh yeah, sit on Michael's lap and let him tell. I'm going to tell you a story about
Bedtime
the
story.
Democrat Party. And I think people are receptive to it because we keep being told everything's okay, but if you have two eyeballs and you go outside, you can see things are not necessarily all okay. And I
Right.
think to me it's a race. I mean, if the further away the election is, I think the better our chances are, to be honest with you. And I think that's still pretty quick, but whatever, we can't change that.
Mhm.
But I think if we can get enough people to vote for their own benefit, again, we said this before, John. I don't know if you saw this, but we don't talk about converting people that don't get it. We talk about like galvanizing people that do get it to get out and vote and to get involved and to carry the torch a little bit. There's no time. People that are like, have total Trump derangement syndrome, cut bait, man. Like, just stop even worrying about that. Focus on the people that are like rational and haven't voted in a while,
And you can have a
and get them
conversation
to
without
get
it
out
getting fucking insane.
and have a conversation with them. But anyway, I'll also, Josh, welcome to the show. I saw some of your shows and I'm like, you know what? This is a whole different dynamic, because on your show, it's like you and the microphone, and here we're always jumping on each other, what we're saying. It's just like, so just jump in whenever.
Oh, hey,
Also,
man.
I love that episode that started. I have to ask you so I don't forget, where the ping pong thing at the beginning. Was that you as a kid with like
No,
someone else, or did you find that online or something?
that was all on Twitter, man.
Okay, I was looking at that. It was so hilarious. They just took it
It-
so far. But anyway,
Speaking of Twitter, I got a question.
Yeah.
So when it used to be Twitter, and so you would say like a tweet, that was like the noun for the thing that you
Yeah.
put on the internet, on the Twitter. So now that it's called X, what do you call it? An X? Xed?
I don't know,
You
man.
know what?
I don't
I'm not
know.
allowed
I
on
don't
Twitter
know.
still, so.
On my browser, it still says twitter.com, so I'm still calling it a tweet.
Okay.
There you
Whether
go.
you change it to an X or a bird, it don't matter.
You
Yeah.
know what?
I just
You
don't
know, I
know the
think an
noun.
interesting thing we might want to discuss is, I think this falls under the state of our union right now, is I do like that they're really fighting to get TikTok just out,
That came back up again too.
Yeah,
Why do
we
you
did
like
that
that?
episode.
because it's been proven that there's all this technology in it where they're basically like spying on us, and then there's just the whole, they
It
allow
says our
a lot
government.
of,
Didn't we have this discussion? Also Google, also Apple, also
Yeah.
Facebook.
Everybody's spying on us. Everybody's collecting our
but they're
data.
not
And
China.
I
Again, we
mean,
had this conversation. They're down in places
did you
in
guys?
Texas.
I don't know.
That's what they be saying
I'm
anyway.
fine with them
Historical.
limiting some of this social media, and TikTok is fucking addictive. I've put it on and taken it off like 3 times because I'm like this. It just keeps feeding the monster.
I watched like 3 hours of TikToks today, and let me tell you what they were: child support court. Shit's funny. But
For you.
if I have to watch another Temu ad on YouTube,
that
I
one
might
drives me
scream.
nuts, too.
That one's insane. You talk about whatever hackware, spyware, whatever. I don't think it's TikTok. I think it's Temu that we got to worry about. But
I can get on board with that. Yeah, it
Well,
tells me, hey, you like drones,
I
so
think
I get fucking 50 advertisements for drones. Yeah,
all from
that's
Temu.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, with TikTok, I'm not so much like you have to ban TikTok, but I think it is reasonable to have an issue with a company that is owned and controlled basically by the CCP
Singapore.
having direct was it ByteDance? Anyway,
ByteDance,
or
Singapore.
Tencent. Anyway, having direct access to like your nation's children, I think is just a bad idea. I mean, I get it with Apple and everybody and Zuckerberg, and it's true. I mean, it's everybody's taking your data, but I don't know that it's prudent to allow a country that we are
At odds with.
in I mean, having a very strained relationship, putting it kindly, if not worse. I mean, if we're not already in a type of war with them, to just allow them that kind of unfettered access, I think is problematic.
I think it
But
should be more fettered. You're
I think
right.
I'm saying if it's owned by someone, in other words, like, if it does get sold off or whatever and it's owned by someone else and it's not controlled, the product isn't my concern. It's who's behind it is my concern.
Yeah,
Well,
I
the
agree.
problem
Singapore.
is how do we go and choose who our gatekeeper is? I mean, at the
Right.
same time, we have to go and exercise some sort of self-control.
Mm-hmm.
TikTok, you can say YouTube Shorts is the exact same. Twitter is the exact same. It's
the
literally
parents.
choosing
Yeah.
a gatekeeper. Yeah. And whether it's for kids or not, I mean, honestly, there should be nothing that's specifically targeted towards kids.
Did you hear
I
about
mean,
Zigazoo?
I have never
I don't
heard
even
of
know what
Zigazoo
Zigzoo
ever.
is.
Okay, they just launched Zigazoo. And it's apparently a social media just only for children. They don't allow commenting. They don't allow any of that. You can just post. I haven't looked into it, but that's the claim. There's no commenting. There's no any of that stuff. So I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe.
And then they'll
I don't
probably
I don't
never.
know. Listen, it just was launched for spring, like to come out. So I don't even know. But I'm just saying it. I just heard about it.
They'll probably never use it if it's that safe and made for kids. They're
There you
they're
Yeah,
just
go.
seems
they're
no
not
fun.
going to have an interest in it.
I mean, none of
Or
these
they'll
companies
do
are
just like they do with everything else,
But-
and then they'll slip in little, subtle thought processes for these kids to absorb. And
Yeah, there definitely is a negative influence of this stuff on kids. I mean, you can just see like the kids, the rates of depression and suicidal ideation, and I want to be a girl even though I was born a boy. Like a lot of this stuff is, fomented in these influencers. And I don't want to sound like the old guy, get off my lawn, or these damn kids today, what are they
Be
up
that
to?
guy.
Fuck these
Yeah.
You
kids.
know?
Be
Yeah,
that guy,
Yeah,
Joe.
let
I
it
am
flow,
that
man.
guy.
Let it flow. Let it flow.
I am that guy. And like I mean, if something is just spreading negative influence, and I know, look, I listened to like, thrash metal and punk rock growing up and shit that my parents said, don't listen to Slayer,
Rot your
okay,
brain.
bullshit. I'm gonna listen to Slayer if I want to listen to Slayer. So I am that guy now because now you've got social contagion spreading amongst young people. And not to mention, even without TikTok, they're all hooked on this. I mean, this is like something that's completely destroying kids. And then part of me is like, yeah, well, that's the parents' fault. Like parents let their
Parent
kids
your
do it,
children.
my kids
So
still don't have them.
Likewise.
I'm fighting it tooth and nail to give my oldest a cell phone, and it's a losing battle. But
Right.
I'll hold out as long as I can.
Well, one thing too, I mean, just all for some context, I just got finished reading the Schweitzer's new book, Blood Money, where he gets into this pretty in depth. So that's I didn't just come up with this out of the blue. I mean, I've been thinking about it because I've been reading that book. It's a great book, by the way. It just came out like 2 weeks ago.
Cool.
What do you guys think about the Boeing whistleblower that was found
Yeah.
dead?
Oh my gosh. I mean, isn't it time already that they went and blew the whistle? I mean, we had a door fall off, wheels
Yeah.
fall off.
Apparently several things
I
have
mean,
happened.
Yeah.
They had said that there was a guy that tests like the door sill. He was rubbing like Dawn dish soap on that shit to make sure like the air. I don't feel like that's official test. But
You know,
maybe.
when I was building axles, there was this little spray and we'd go and put it on an axle that failed. And after you go and spray it, it would magically pass the test so we could go and, move it on through the line. Found out it was just dish soap and water. So
Oh,
it does
man.
something to the metal that makes it go in, just a certain way to go and pass certain tests.
Wow.
Well, I
man.
will say this about that. The videos they released when they walked around the plant interviewing all those people that worked there, and you could hear them saying, "Oh yeah, I build the planes. I'd never work on them." I kind of feel like also that's a little bit of a maybe I don't want to say like it's not a false narrative, but it's like a scare tactic. Okay, I live in Wichita, Kansas, the air capital of the world. Everybody says that and has been saying it for years. So, I mean, if you build airplanes, simple fact, you're not going to fly on one because you know how they're built. You know how they're built. I mean, they're built like shit. But so that's not new news. I don't think that's a new thing that Boeing would be doing. But I don't know what's going on with their doors or their wheels.
I knew this guy that he had a brother that was like an aircraft mechanic, and like aeronautics or whatever, airplane building, whatever you call that, has always been shady. They actually have like a duct tape that is like super like adhesive, right? They actually use this for some repairs on planes. Like straight up fact, he was like, it's called like duct tape 750 or something. It's like it'll hold metal together, but I just don't know. I already don't like flying. I really don't like flying, thinking that maybe duct tape is keeping the wings together, and that's an extreme. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
It's
back to what she was talking about. It's shady as hell that now, you know, a guy whistleblows on a huge corporation, seems like he's got some, some knowledge, and suddenly he disappears. Clearly it was suicide. I don't know.
Or he could have just died. The dude was old.
Didn't they find him in his car or something?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
just
right
saying.
in
I
his
don't know.
car right
Yeah,
outside the hotel room.
he shot
Yeah.
himself.
Oh, he did.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how he died. I just thought they found him in the home dead in the bed. I don't
Shot
know.
himself in the back of the head twice. That's the weird thing.
Yeah, that is
Why?
weird.
I
Why
mean, you
is
can.
it
That's an
that
angle. It's usually
suicides
one,
now
but
shoot themselves twice? That's like normal.
Yeah, that's the
You
way.
know, I,
That's the trend.
I was a
you could do
combat
2 hands at
infantryman,
once.
and you
I'm
know
just
what? I've never seen somebody be perfectly okay after a shot to the head. I'm just saying, guys.
Yeah,
What normally does it?
one's
Very
plenty.
odd.
Well, I think the thing with planes, I mean, just to use it as an analogy, I mean, when Boeing, I'm a plane. I like planes. I like the
I like the
747.
flying.
I like the history of it. All that.
Hey,
Anyway,
Mike,
yeah,
Mike,
yeah.
do me a favor, move your microphone a little because you're pretty low.
Oh, okay. How's that?
It's better.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll turn it up. When commercial air travel came out, people were like, "Hell no, I'm not getting in this thing and going up in the sky," right? So the tolerances, they were like, we cannot have any crashes. Like that was, if this industry is going to take off, no pun intended. Boeing was known at the time, especially for safety redundancies. When a plane crashes, one thing doesn't go wrong. It's like 7 or 8, 10 things have to go wrong for a commercial airliner to come out of the sky. But now it's almost like, flash forward like 50, 60 years, and now people are like, oh yeah, another plane crash. I'm like, it's like,
Well,
in
I
other
don't know.
words,
Are they
people are
crashing
still
or are they
buying
just
tickets.
malfunctioning? I mean,
Or
it's
having issues, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, no one is not flying because they're scared of a plane crashing anymore. You okay? I mean, maybe not,
well,
but not the vast majority. I mean, they're
Wait a
still
minute.
selling tickets. Planes are still
Yeah.
selling out left and
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, this conversation can kind of spin off into something else that
Yeah,
I
we
heard
should.
recently though, which gives me pause about flying. Another thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro
Yeah.
and those guys,
Yeah.
conservative podcasts. There's a guy named Matt Walsh who's got a show. Everybody,
Yeah.
who follows
What is the woman,
conservative
right?
yeah,
media,
we're aware.
they know about Matt Walsh. He did the movie about the What is a Woman. He actually, if you look at episodes of his show, there were two recent ones in the last maybe like 2 or 3 weeks about DEI
Oh yeah.
initiatives being pushed by the major airlines and by the FAA in terms of traffic control, mechanics, pilots, like the corporations we talked about before and the government we talked about before. They're really pushing DEI to the point where once again, DEI is code for anti-white, in my opinion. That's just what it is. It's basically a way they're going to lower grading and testing standards so that they have more black and brown people get these positions. And if they're lowering testing standards versus gravity,
Yeah.
I don't want any part of it. Like I just like no. I was already afraid before, and now you've got near misses and you've got doors flying off, and I don't know what the cause is, but that's just another reason for me not to want to do it. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't,
Did you see
like
the recent one where the plane slid off the runway because it was wet?
No,
I mean, I
no.
feel like I've landed a lot in airplanes when
that
it's
were wet.
raining.
Yeah.
It wasn't even raining, it was just wet, and the whole plane just slid off the runway.
No, chalk
Um,
block.
Yeah.
That seems odd.
I'm
But yeah,
gonna,
I have heard about that, Jack. I mean, and again, with corporations in general, I was going to ask it earlier, but I mean, so far we haven't let Josh even start what he was going to talk about yet.
Oh
But
no, you
I
guys are good.
okay, but
We've been
I
burning
mean,
through it.
with corporations, here's my big question, and this is I don't have the answer. I don't know. I think about this a lot. Why, when we were kids, when I was a kid, back when they had Conestoga wagons and stuff like that, companies in the United States, were
The real Oregon
patriotic.
Trail.
They were, and Josh, you work in Michigan in the auto industry. It's like Chrysler Corporation, Ford. I mean, it was like America, man. I mean, these companies to me were American companies, and now these big companies are global companies. They don't seem to have the same allegiance and airlines, Target, automobiles, all these different companies. And so my question is, why do they toe this globalist line? Why do they fall for this DEI stuff? What are they
What do
good
they get out of it?
intentioned and trying thinking it's a marketing thing like, well, this is what the people want, or is it worse? Is it more sinister than that? And I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if they're just doing it because they're dumb or if they're in on it.
They're
I don't know.
doing
We've
Oh,
talked
go
about
ahead.
that before. Yeah, Josh, you got a theory? Because I mean, it's puzzling. It used to be about making money.
They are about making money. That's the thing. In America, they don't make as much money. In America, you have so much red tape, so many restrictions that you lose a lot of money. Why do you think that there's such a big push for, you know, undocumented individuals, whatever you want to call them, to go and work all these places? They don't have to pay them as much because they don't have to register like they normally do. It's just, hey, we need this done. Well, go get some bodies over there. Not, hey, we gotta go run them through HR. We gotta go and
They're
offer
not
them
going to
benefits. We gotta
complain
go
because
and
they
do
want to
all these things.
raise and be calling
Yeah,
in all the time because you don't pay them enough. Quiet
they
quitting, all that shit.
So
they
does that
complain, then we're not going to go and pay them so that they can send all their money back home to their family. I mean, I've talked to many illegals that I've worked with over the years, and that's exactly what they do. They live in a crummy hotel, and then every dollar that they make, they send back
they
home.
It's
send
sent
back?
back
Yeah.
home. Yeah. So it
And
doesn't go back into the economy.
yeah, and in the countries where it's outside of America that, a lot of industries operate, they don't have the same, restrictions like you're talking about earlier, China. Well, in
Forget it.
China, I mean, how many videos can you see where it's like, somebody's working and all of a sudden their arm just goes in a press and then all of a sudden they don't have an
Yeah.
arm. They're
Yeah.
not paying benefits for
or,
that. They're
or
not paying hospital bills. It's okay. Well, you're fired. Get the hell out of here.
does
Yeah.
anybody
I
Looks
mean,
like
remember?
you don't have an arm anymore, can't work here.
yeah.
Does anybody
And
remember
also,
the
you messed up
video
our
where?
machine. You got to pay for that.
Do you guys remember the video where they were showing these guys making masks? It was clearly, I don't know what country it was. They were definitely Asian, and
Yeah, and
the
it was a
guy's like
false mask.
making masks. He's like sitting on the floor, like these are supposed to be like sterile, and he's like making them on the floor, and clearly they're doing it like
Well,
100 an hour, like
When I was
But
in
I just
Korea
found
in
that a little
2011, they take a lot of pride in their knockoffs. So it's like, if you go into the markets there, they have unlimited, fake brands, and you'll get them for dirt prices because it's not real, but it's still same sweatshop quality.
yes.
I'm going to go ahead and
That
say
that
I
genuine
love a fake
sweatshop
bag,
quality. Yeah.
but you need to try a little harder and make them
Mhm.
better. A
Mhm.
little
Oh,
harder,
absolutely.
just a little bit.
But here's the thing, like, so is it, I kind of go back to Pogo a lot, like, I've met the enemy and he is us. I mean, all this stuff, there's a lot of things in our culture, in our politics that, it's very easy to point, but a lot of it comes right back to us because we set expectations. We ignore things when they're wrong and let them go because it's like we don't want to make waves or whatever. I'm just saying collectively. So how much of this is our own doing? I mean, and I thought about this. I was in a Lidl. Do you guys have Lidl grocery stores?
Yeah.
Lidl.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
we got
It's
Meyer up here.
it's sort of
Yeah,
like,
those
how
are
about
nice.
Aldi? You have
Yeah, we
Oh
got
yeah,
Aldi.
Aldi, yeah.
So it's
And at Trader Joe's too.
But Lidl is sort of like you go in and they just unbox, they just open the boxes and put them on the shelves.
Yeah,
Sort of like
yeah,
Aldi, so it's not like
Aldi too.
merchandise or anything. And the prices are, supposedly lower. And I'm walking through there and I'm like, it's just it just looks like crap inside. It's just a bunch of cardboard boxes ripped
Mhm.
open and I'm like, okay, so the price is less, but I mean, I remember going to a grocery store and it's like stuff's merchandise cool and everything looks
Mhm.
nice. And I'm like, okay, so now we're just grabbing stuff out of boxes. How soon is it until like, hey, come over here to Michael's. Just go out in that
Mhm.
field, pick it your own damn self, and it only costs $100. Like, I mean, where are we going? I mean,
Yeah, but Mike, I gotta take issue with that. Like
yeah.
because we shop at Aldi's. I've been to Lidl as well, or Lidl, whatever it
Mhm.
is. And the reason and Aldi's will also carry sort of like knockoffs, like a European country's version
Yeah.
of like
They got the cheese
whatever,
sharks.
granola bars, K cups, whatever. But I like Aldi. I don't care what it looks like because I'm saving a significant amount of
Yeah.
money for not any of the glossy bullshit that ShopRite is presenting to me. So,
Gotcha. No, and
so
I
to me, it's like buying a great shirt at a thrift store
right.
that
It is.
becomes your favorite shirt and you bought it for $3.
But the thing is, there used to be, it's almost like everything's becoming a thrift store, though. And look, I'm not saying I
Yeah.
want everything to be glossy. What I'm saying is, if you look at like what the average family's spending on groceries, it's not like it's going down. I mean, in other words, these
No, it's
places aren't
not.
opening and saving people a ton of money. They're opening, it's less, they're investing less in it, charging a tiny little bit less, but we're still paying more. So it's sort of
No,
like
we're paying more, no doubt.
And you still have to put your
we're paying more for less. We're paying more for less in everything. I mean, I resent going to Home Depot and going to the self checkout. I mean, I'll do it if I have to. I hate the self checkout. I'm like, I don't like the idea that people can just wake up, leave their house, do everything they need to do, and never even talk to a human being. I just think that's like insane.
I
I mean,
love
again,
that.
I like having the choice, but it seems it's like anything else with technology. I don't know that it's much of a choice. I go to Safeway, there's like one lane open and like all of the self checkouts are open. So how much of a choice is it
See,
anymore?
now you sound like the get off my
I'm the
lawn
get
guy.
off the cloud. Yeah, get off
You
my
Yeah.
know what? I was
lawn.
just
Yeah.
telling Zeus the other week, I was like, you know what? I keep seeing all of these news stories about specifically Target and Walmart and their self-checkout policies. Has anyone else kind of noticed this?
Mm-mm.
I
No.
haven't heard anything about policy. I did notice that there's a lot
Or the
more
trend or
self-checkout
whatever.
lines though.
Yeah, well, there's a lot on Target. The argument is a lot of people don't like it because I don't know. If you don't like it, then don't go through the self-checkout line. I don't know what to
Yeah.
say, but then they
Yeah,
limited
but
like it
sometimes
to
you don't have a
10.
choice. How many times have you been in a
You do. Listen, you
Safeway?
do. You have a choice. Listen, you have a choice. There's usually one. There's the
No,
cigarette aisle is always open. Okay.
that's the
You
thing.
could go and you could wait in line. You could wait in that
Of
long
course.
line that everyone else wants to check out at that aisle too. Or you can simply not.
I'm
And
just
you
saying
self checkout. So I mean, we all make choices.
but what I'm saying is, look, a loaf of bread used to cost X, and I could go to the grocery store and I could go and talk to Miss Sally while I'm checking out my loaf of bread. Now I go, the bread is more expensive, and I got to do it my damn self. I'm like, in other words, it's not whose benefit? Is it for the consumer's benefit? All these self
No.
checkouts?
Well, no, it's for the business's benefit because they don't have to pay staff.
That's all I'm saying. And again, I'm not trying to be grumpy guy,
Yeah, and
but
Des,
I'm just
I don't want to knock what you're saying, but Michael probably attests to this. Here, at least at Safeway, there's times where I go in and there's no people at cashiers. Like
Yeah.
straight up, you have to use the automated thing, which I think this is just another level of like with the masks where we become depersonalized. We become you don't have there's no smile, there's no social cues that you get. And now we're taking it to this other level where pretty soon, and I definitely think this will happen, where you walk into a store and there's the skeleton crew and it's all automated shit.
Mhm.
And you
I don't
never
even want to go to the store. I want to order my groceries on the Instacart and then get them at my house.
Right.
And leave them at my door. Don't knock on it. I'll get them 5 minutes after you leave.
That's
this
fine,
is-
but
And I'll pay
Mike.
for that. And I'm gonna pay for that convenience because
but
I don't want to.
Desiree, for those of us that like people,
No, I get it, man. I mean,
it,
Instacart is great,
I
except
don't like the people of Walmart. I
no,
don't like those
I
people.
get it, and I
Yeah.
get the convenience, but like if I go out to the store, I might have a question. I might, often they go, "Hey, did you get everything you needed?" Sometimes, no, I didn't. Do you have that?
Do you say
There's
no? I
this-
don't though. I mean, I never do, even if I didn't find the thing I didn't want because they didn't have it.
Yeah, because
They can't do anything about it.
I've asked for help in a grocery store. What aisle can I find cereal? Where can I find seltzer water? Whatever. Like, I mean, it's nice to have human help.
Or
Anyway, I
contact.
mean, I think this is just technology. Like, this is like Desiree's younger than us, and she wants everything delivered that she orders online instead of
Yeah,
going
because
to
my
the
time is
store.
valuable. I don't got time to spend 3 hours going to the grocery store.
but-
Mike wants to
Josh, what
interact
do you
with
think?
people more.
We're
You
about
know,
probably
I
the
mean,
same age.
it's just
Yeah, my
different.
wife orders things
She
online
goes to
all the
Instacart
time,
or she does the
every
pickup.
time. It drives me crazy. And I'm one of those people where, hey, I'm going to that middle aisle. I don't care if I got 4 things. I'll wait the half hour.
yeah.
But
The
but
missus still go and do a dash delivery like 2-3 times a day. Not think twice about it.
Oh yeah, DoorDash. I should
Wow.
have stock
Wow.
Yep.
But here's a question with
because
DoorDash.
it's not. It's honestly
let me-
because Mike was saying the price of groceries is absurd. Absurd.
Mhm.
But they
Cheez-Its are
they're not-
$9. Cheez-It or Oreos are $7. Like
Yeah, but you're paying extra for the delivery too. You're
But-
paying all their
no, no, no,
fees.
no, no.
if you go to
This is what-
Aldi,
no.
you can get Mies-Its
I'm
and
not
they're
gonna. I'm not
$4
gonna.
less.
There's some stuff I'm not gonna eat. Oreos is not one of them, and I'm gonna eat the off-brand Oreos. They're not good.
but they don't do well with the substitutions in my experience. I'd like to
You don't
pick
like
my own
Doritos?
bananas. What I'm saying is like you're like, hey, I want this, and then like we didn't have that, so we got this, and I
I
don't
guess
know.
I've never
Anyway,
really experienced that
this
one or
is
two
not our-
times, and it's
okay.
Yeah,
well, you have better service.
We've gone down the grocery store
Yeah, now-
tangent
All
now.
right.
You know what
wait.
I don't like?
Wait, hold on. There's something I was trying to get across in this is that this might be an extension of the social experiment that was the masks. And it's that now you don't no smiles, you can't see what somebody looks like. They're an androgyny to everybody. And now they're doing this whole you don't get to, and I say get to, not have to. I like to interact with people when I'm out and doing things. And I think it's a valuable part of like our social, like our societal
I agree with that.
synchronicity. And I think that this is just an extension of that. I mean, I'll bet if you looked back in like, maybe Nazi Germany or communist Russia, that you'd see maybe not these things, but things that you could align with a lack of social interaction. And then you're more susceptible because the only social interaction you're getting is from like the news or the people the cell phone. Yeah. I really feel like there's this like snowball rolling down a hill of antisocial
Yeah, Zeus, I totally agree with you.
and I feel like this is just an extension of that. I mean, even if you go to a supermarket in the middle of the day, boy, we're talking a lot about supermarkets. But even if you go to like a supermarket in the middle of the day, there's like one person. They got 9 useless fucking aisles, and one
taking
guy.
up space.
What's that?
Taking up all the space.
Yeah, but Zeus,
Yeah, but
Zeus,
are they
you're
really saving that much money?
no, but Zeus, like you said, the direction that society's going in, you've got an entire generation that's more socially retarded, and I mean that in the purest sense of the word, because they're looking into this all the time, and they don't know how to interact with people. They don't want to interact with people. They might get triggered. They might get offended by something that's said to them.
Oh,
Like,
I'm not interacting because I might do the offending.
Well,
You should
no,
just
but
not say anything.
No, Desiree, I don't mean your generation. I'm talking about like kids that literally need this in their lives all the time. When they proposed this TikTok ban, supposedly federal representatives in Congress we're receiving all of these letters and emails from like teenagers threatening to commit suicide.
Yeah, I heard
That's
that.
a little
Okay.
bit extreme.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
so
but it's happening. What was it? Riley Gaines was just on Joe Rogan, and she was talking about how
yeah,
it wasn't her situation, but there was another situation where this team got the opportunity to. They said they were going to be able to vote anonymously, and then they weren't allowed to vote anonymously. And then the male that was going to try and it was a running team or swimming team, one of those, said, "You guys can vote however you want, but if you vote against me, I'm going to kill myself." And so, like, this is a
See ya.
great line on the
Sorry.
episode.
That's
Hold
wrong,
on,
Adam. Like, if you're gonna kill yourself over TikTok,
There's
Yeah.
a great line that Rogan said because
Maybe it's
then it
well,
came
one
back
less.
13-4 and 4 against, and Rogan's like, 4 of them said, "Fuck you, kill yourself." I thought that was funny, but yeah, I really feel like there's this snowball of like this separate us as much as they can within our little microcosms to a point where we no longer have social skills. And then maybe I don't think that's meant for us. Like we're the next generation. We are the get off my lawn group that our parents were back when we were kids.
Well,
But-
even on that note, the best prison cell is one that you build yourself.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
If
But I
your
really
if your
feel like
home
it-
is something you never leave, that's your prison cell. If your prison cell is, staring at your phone no matter where you are, that's still it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's frightening. Yeah, I'm alarmed that more people don't see that. And maybe I like to think that I'm smarter than the room sometimes. I really feel like that's where it's going. I really feel like we are being manipulated on levels that we don't even quite understand.
Cultural
yeah.
programming. We really are.
Yeah.
New-
yeah, and
I
then
gotta-
and then you also add the drug legalization to it. I've said it on this show before. They want us stoned, they want us completely broke, and they want us to just not care what's going on in the world. Just look at stupid shit on our phone. I mean,
And we do that.
Yeah, like
we're
child
bitching
support
about it,
cord.
but we do it.
yeah, like child support court or
It's funny.
whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
I mean,
child support court. Okay, I didn't know.
no, I mean, like in COVID, like I
I'll be
mean,
there.
how did Netflix do during COVID? You know what I mean? Like, and how are these weed dispensaries doing? And how were alcohol sales during COVID? Because they didn't close the liquor stores.
Well,
They
no,
never
and
do.
I'm glad that
Yeah.
they
They
didn't,
never do.
honestly, because you want to know how many people would have been withdrawn from the booze. That had been another
Yeah,
crisis.
no, right. No,
Yeah.
some of the people in like local government that I saw talked about that. Like, oh, we can't. There are people that are dependent. You know, it's
Yeah.
like, okay.
Well, in bad
Ain't got no
times,
more
there's two
space.
things that always
Things
hold
closed.
through, and
Des,
that's the
I'm so glad you
bars
said that.
and religion.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
So back
Yeah.
to the state of the
Well, they
union.
closed the
did,
churches.
Did
Yeah.
what do you guys think about that Lakin? What's her name? Lakin Parker.
Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley.
Lake and Riley.
That
Yeah,
was
he
murdered.
called her Lincoln Riley.
Yeah,
He
he
called her
He
Lincoln.
even had a button
And-
in his hand with her name on it.
And
I
when
know.
he said it, he picked it up and looked like he couldn't even genuinely say the thing. Like
No.
he had to read the thing off of the whatever he was reading it off of.
Des,
Not
can
the
you-
prompter because it was differently in a direction.
Well,
but,
if you
um,
Help me
notice,
on this because I don't know what you're talking about. I
Okay,
heard
so
the
Lakin
name, but-
Riley, she was a I think in Georgia.
Yes.
yep, Georgia
She
med
was a
student.
college student. She was actually a nursing student who she just went for a run like people do, you
Yeah.
know? And
Oh,
she was murdered by a Venezuelan national.
An illegal
And-
alien.
Who
Yeah.
had
Yeah,
already
and
committed
he
crimes in New
had-
York.
I heard that's no fun.
Well, he went and had forced unconsensual relations with her beforehand as well. It's
Yeah.
very awful. And then
Oh, I didn't even
he
hear
beat
that,
her to
Chuck.
death. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that
And-
either.
And yeah, there's just it's awful. And this is happening more than just her. She's just, the recent one to hit the story. I'm sorry. Go
Oh.
ahead. Des.
Rewind to President Trump circa 2020, maybe 29. No. What was the first time he won? 2015 maybe? Like in that
2015,
area- in that area?
2016.
When he had
2016.
said that thing about like
Build
you
a
know,
wall.
when
They're not sending our best. They're sending
we're not-
rapists.
yeah, they're not
and-
sending their best. They're sending
know.
their rapists. They're sending their murders. Okay, because right before that, like on the Santa Monica Pier, like there was a girl murdered by like a Hispanic, an illegal alien.
Hmm.
So everyone wants to talk shit about that comment, but that's what he was talking about.
And,
That's what he was talking about.
It's
Right.
not. It's not bad to say that the culprit in this is Hispanic. We're not.
No, yeah.
Missing.
Race ain't a factor. It's
And
the
he had
fact
the
of the matter.
audacity to
now.
say all the things he said about Lakin and say, but citizens kill people too.
I know.
Yeah, he did say that.
He
Isn't
said that out
It's
loud.
outrageous. I know.
How about you got these people that are being bused to New York, coming over the border, given, I don't know the amount of, we'll call it 3,000. Let's state that's not a fact, but
A
we'll call
dollar
it-
amount is significant.
Yeah, it's significant. They give them a phone, they give them accommodations, and then they go there, and there's homeless people, Americans. I'm all America, there's these homeless people that have lived here that are, born and bred Americans that
Hold
get
on.
nothing. They get no housing. They get no cell phones. They get no job offers, and it's alarming to me. And I feel for people that are coming here and looking for a good thing. That's fine.
Mhm.
Go through, like right now, it's harder for you to come in here and go through the legal process to become an American, like get naturalized and all that stuff, than it is to just walk over a fucking border.
You know, the thing that really scares the hell out of me with all this, though, is in the UK, there was a whistleblower who she went
How'd they
into
die?
no, she wanted to remain anonymous, but she was, talking to this reporter, and she talked about how she was housing illegals in her hotel. The government paid her to fire her whole staff, and they were giving her money just to house them.
Yeah, they do that.
A parcel came, and she's like, you know what? Hey, they're sending this stuff to me. It's in my possession. I'm going to look in it. It was to a storage unit that was loaded with weapons.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if you guys seen the videos online of illegals here in America doing that. I know there was a guy named Decoy Voice. He went and made a video a couple months back. It was an illegal holding 2 AKs or something. Maybe they were AR-15s. I don't know. It was a couple months ago. But this is here as well. I mean, there are armed
We have
military
330
men.
million people here. That's
Yeah.
alarming.
We have 2 states worth of illegals here,
Yeah.
and they are armed.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
yeah,
and they don't
I'm
even
not gonna
talk.
say it. You guys don't need to strike.
No, no, we've talked about this before. They also don't even talk about the Chinese immigrants that are going in through different ports, and they're all male, and they're all fighting
Yep.
age. Most of these guys from whatever part of the world they're coming from, they're 18 or 17 to 30, 35 years old, and they're not with women and children.
Right.
They're just dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean,
Going to school.
and
Look.
worse than that, I talked to Mike about this not too long ago. Again, I pull up Rogan a lot because he's
your boy.
I believe. And
He uploads regularly.
Phil was on there, and Dr. Phil was talking about how, like, you don't have to identify where you're from. You don't have to provide any identification. And then you've got these kids with you, and you send these kids off to all over the United States. And there's like 30,000 kids that are just unaccounted for. And
80,000.
Dr. Phil was talking about
Human trafficking for sex.
sex trafficking. Yeah. We are Rome, man. We are fucking Rome. I'm waiting for somebody to come down into Congress and start beating the shit out of somebody with stone tablets, because it's scary.
But it's the Frankenstein monster, man. I mean, again, it's like immigration.
Okay, I gotta correct you on something, Mike.
What?
Frankenstein's monster was good. Frankenstein was bad.
I'm talking about the idea that you create something that gets out of your own control.
Yeah, Frankenstein's monster like tore people's limbs off and killed children. Like he wasn't like
He
But
wasn't a good
only at
guy.
the end. Only when he got
problem-
pissed off.
The problem is, though, is we didn't choose to create this. We
No.
didn't.
Understood.
It was
But
forced
we
upon
allowed it
us.
to happen.
We didn't allow a damn thing to happen. Everybody tried to do this the right way. And, I have a very different view of 2020 than mainstream, but I believe that there was a soft coup because, I mean, I remember, if you guys seen Dinesh D'Souza's, 2000 Mules.
Yeah,
that,
we did
that
it.
right
Oh,
there.
don't get Zeus
did an
started
episode.
on
Oh, yeah.
that.
Ballot stuffing was a thing. They stopped the counting. They kicked people out. I listened to every testimony from the state and Senate houses for every state that they were going through. this was not done by choice, and it was forced
No.
upon us.
Right, I
And-
agree
and
with you.
we did an episode on it, and we talked about so many things like the timestamps on the camera. Like there was a lot of information that was conveniently unavailable in that movie. It was very, it was.
Yeah, I know, but Josh just rattled off a few other things that a lot of people just didn't talk about, and the news didn't
No.
cover it.
They say the media
they threw posters out of the voting count rooms. I think it was in Michigan, Josh, by you, where
Yep.
they put poster boards over the windows so
Yep.
people couldn't look
And then
in
they applauded.
and they
Yeah.
applauded. And then also they said they were all going to stop counting at a certain point. Trump was kicking his ass. And then we all got up the next day and all of a sudden, oh my gosh, what happened last night? Like, I mean, there, and then the voting machines, and then what happened in Arizona with the Sharpie pens or whatever. Like, there were irregularities to say the least. And all
Pipe
they
burst
say,
that didn't burst.
But
yeah,
even but
and all they say now though, Mike, is that Trump had no evidence of anything. The judges wouldn't listen to
wouldn't even listen
anything.
to it.
They
Nope.
threw the cases out.
Wasn't there like a case in Pennsylvania where they were like
They changed
they
the
were-
Constitution. They
yes,
just
yes,
Oh, yeah.
but they were outside of a voting place, and there was all the camera angles, and you couldn't see in anywhere, which I find highly suspect. Like if you're gonna have a voting like where they're counting numbers, it should be a building that is made for that has all the securities that we want. And this was like some post office in the middle of fucking
it's always
Altoona,
like that
Pennsylvania.
though. It's always been that
Fucking-
way.
Hey guys, I gotta go and be a wage slave for a little bit.
oh man,
What's a wage slave?
Oh,
shift. You got to go in
Yep.
and work, man.
Gotta be
All right,
there in
well,
10
hey,
minutes.
Josh,
We gotta-
thanks for coming on with us. I like everybody. You want to plug your stuff, man?
Yeah,
Whatever
man.
you want to rattle off.
Man, all right, let me go and get my glasses on so it's all official.
There we go.
All right, guys.
Sounds
Hey,
like
if you guys
gun
want to check
glasses.
me
Okay,
out.
everyone be
What's
quiet.
up?
Let Josh talk.
These are
Everyone
my
be quiet.
safety specs, homie.
Do you have
Yeah.
a firearm near you right now?
No, let's
Always.
go. Come on, Zeus. Let him talk.
So you guys can find me at It Could Be Worse on YouTube and Rumble. I'm on Twitter, ICBW Josh P. And you know what? Final thought I got on all this is we can't vote our way out of tyranny, guys.
No.
No.
And listen,
Josh-
man, I'd love to have you on again or come on your show because I feel like this is the fastest. Went by so fast, and I feel
know.
like there's so much I want to talk to you about.
And we covered a lot. Yeah,
We did.
Absolutely. Josh, it was a real pleasure. Thanks for joining us, man.
Absolutely,
Take care,
man.
Hey, see you
Have fun
guys.
at work.
About this guy? Was I right about this guy? I
You
told
were
you.
right about way
And
to
yay
go.
for
Zeus.
night shift. Woo!
We got to
Oh,
we
yeah.
got to Swapcast, Josh.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, cool.
All right,
man.
take
But
care,
I gotta
man.
get moving, guys.
Take
Good
care,
Bye,
man.
Josh.
talking with you.
Bye.
Okay, man.
All right. Well, that was fast. We barely even let him talk. That's what.
Yeah, but I do think we covered a lot of states of the union,
We
like
did.
Yes,
things
we
that have been
did.
happening, and like what the fuck.
We
I
did.
Yeah,
like
no,
that
he-
guy.
well,
I like
he
that
pre-
guy a lot.
He presented a number of topics, and we all just kind of carried along, and the
Yeah.
conversation covered a lot. So yeah, he was great.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He-
it could be
Give me a record.
again.
Definitely.
It's the It Could Be Worse podcast. So, check out Josh. But while you're here, if you're still listening on our podcast, click like, click subscribe, comment,
Click the bell.
please, and share with your friends.
Yes.
Just
Get the word out.
Hit the
Sharing is
share
caring.
button.
And-
You
and
can
you know
also you can also find us on Facebook and Rumble and Spotify. And we gotta keep telling people this. We're out there. Watch the rest.
And I've been remiss in my duties. I'm gonna really work on getting us a phone number so at least people could leave us messages that we could respond to on the show. And
Or
I'm
a
gonna get us
email address.
a legit email address.
Yeah, email address would be cool.
If you
Because,
made it the same one we used to have, then all those episodes that I
Well, that
added
one
at
cost
the
me
end-
like $400 a year, so I stopped
Oh.
doing it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
And I
forget
just
that.
paid for the Zoom, so I can't keep. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm fine
I
with
got
it.
you.
I'm
I didn't know
I'm
that.
not asking for money or anything.
No.
But I gotta pull back a little on.
Can
the
you
money.
just get a Google phone number
Oh,
That's
yeah?
what I was
and a
thinking.
Google Voice Notes?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna do. I got to look into it. Unfortunately, my electricity went out in part of my apartment, and that
weird.
part is where my internet is and my bathroom lights. So I got that going for me. But
Nice.
Well, I do say I wanted to tell John I really like the name of his podcast because that is definitely my philosophy. Like it could
But
be
it could be it could get better.
it could be worse. I know, but
It could be
people,
worse.
whenever I hear people say it can't get any worse than this, I'm like,
Oh,
Yeah,
it could
could.
get worse.
yeah, it can. I mean, I
Don't-
used to
Yeah.
think that when I was young, man. Oh, this is so bad, can't get any worse. I'm like, it can always get worse, man.
Mm.
That is,
Yeah.
don't push it. You know.
I'm real happy that he came on and he had that vibe that I mean it's similar to our vibe in a lot of ways, but
Mhm.
he brought
I
up
don't know. Hey guys, I'm not sure. I just happened to glance at the time. I think we have been on for a while tonight. What do you guys think?
I think we should
All
wrap
right,
it
I think
up.
it's time. Yeah, we lost. Josh is gone. It's
Yeah.
time to wrap things up.
All right.
Yeah.
that guy is gone.
Take care, everybody.